So I think with all this work I'm doing, there are still a number of challenges. Facing the new government. The first is, of course, the TPP itself. As Stephen mentioned, also you mentioned that if the TPP is not going to become effective within a reasonable period of time, and then Taiwan it will lose its attraction as well as its importance. Okay. And second thing is, if the new government or Madam Tsai does not receive a clear message from the U.S. Encouraging Taiwan to keep doing things to make Taiwan compatible for TPP standards, and it will make Taiwan very difficult to continue his reform. So I think these two factors were very important for the new government to continue its efforts to push for TPP and other reform. And these are the challenges. And also there are challenges that I mentioned that President Ma took a more balanced approach to have bilateral ECA, TPP, as well as RCEP. However, from the past information released by the new government, we understand that TPP may very likely to be the only focus, because bilateral things, RCEP has not been there. That means that Tsai Ing-wen may probably prioritize TPP while the RCEP's position in the previous FTA strategy may be changed. If Tsai decides to do this, decides to draw a red line against the RCEP, and then it has to deliver something that will be helpful as well as pragmatical for Taiwanese enterprises to get into the so-called the regional economic situation. Okay, so we think that the Go South policy is something that the government proposed to balance that he may not address the RCEP issue in the future. However, the Go South policy will not be able to solve the, for example, the market access barriers and other things. So if Madam Tsai decides not to move forward for the RCEP, or even slow down the efforts to get access to the RCEP when it opens for new membership, then the new government really has to come up with something new and something useful under this new Go South policy, so that they can really still help Taiwanese companies to get into this huge market. So that would be my remarks.
Great. Very, very interesting. Thank you so much. You're both underscoring already why this is such a timely moment to have this reassessment of where we're at within Taiwan, within the United States, and globally, or at least in a broader regional context. In terms of the TPP, the context is actually quite evolved since the last time we had this meeting. Okay, third, we're going to hear from Chung-Min Kwan, who is Chair Professor of Finance at National Taiwan University and Director of CREDA, which is the Center for Research. And welcome back to California.
Okay, thank you.
It's great to have you here.
Yeah. First, I would like to thank Larry for having me here, and it's a great honor to be with the great panelists in this session. I'm supposed to talk about Taiwan's long-term growth challenges, of course, somewhat related to the two other panelists that you mentioned. I'll be using some slides. I don't know since when, perhaps since I started teaching. Without slides, I don't know how to talk.
Yes, several of us don't have that.
So somehow I feel something shining there that made me feel more comfortable. So I'm going to talk about two parts. Even though most of you already know about TPP, First, I would still like to quickly summarize what is TPP to Taiwan. Actually, this has been years since the regional economic integration has become a sort of trend in this region. Taiwan is actually in some kind of anxiety. Why so? I think this plot shows that we see China, Korea, Japan are talking about CJK, free trade agreement. We already see ASEAN there. Last year they talk about upgrading about the ASEAN free trade agreement. Then they have ASEAN +1, ASEAN +3, ASEAN +3 like the East Asia Summit. So you see all kinds of integration is forming or has been formed. But Taiwan is obviously left outside this circle. So that's why Taiwan is in sort of anxiety and worrying about being marginalized. And in this regard, TPP will come. One of the reasons why Taiwan emphasized so much of TPP, including President Ma Ying-jeou and the President-elect Tsai, I think they consider this a way that we can get out of this potential danger of being marginalized. But that still stands some kind of difficulty because TPP, you see these two circles, they do have some overlapping. So if Taiwan would not be able to join TPP, I think that's one message I would like to convey this time is what is completely marginalized or even isolated, which I will come back to this issue. And you see there's all kinds of free trade agreement going on. It has been very, very difficult for Taiwan to join any one of them, like Christy just mentioned. Even though in Ma Ying-jeou's government, they try to do those bilateral ECA, we only have success for Singapore, New Zealand in 2013. We only have a framework agreement with mainland China. The follow-up service trade agreement as goods agreements, they have been postponed. Actually, still in legislature yet. So that means in those two circles, we have very little those trade agreement with anyone of them. That's why I mentioned about this anxiety. And then also that's why we place so much emphasis on TPP, because that's one way to get away from that kind of work. And this plot shows some numbers related to Taiwan. And TPP, of course, is an area that with more than 800 million people. And with in purchasing power parity, they have more than 30 trillion in GDP. Of course, that's huge economy, occupy more than 1/4 of the world GDP. And as for Taiwan, the trade with TPP members accounts for about 37% of total trade. So that means a large portion of our trade is to those TPP members. So as an alternative, like another circle says RCEP. Because of RCEP including mainland China, so we actually occupies almost 60% of our trade to those RCEP members. And then of course GDP and population market argument is more than 40 trillion US dollars. And interestingly, if we exclude mainland China, then you will see the trade with those RCEP members roughly the same as TPP members. So mainland China is actually one of our major export destination. So you can see Taiwan has been an export-driven economy for years. So whether we'll be able to join this TPP or RCEP, of course, plays a very important role in Taiwan's future development. So now I would like to, since Christy already mentioned about what we've been doing to preparing for joining TPP and what we have done, and I would like to mention something about what if we are not there. Since we already mentioned about the worry of being marginalized, I think it's even more important we should have at least plan B. What if that we will not be able to join, at least not recently? First, I would like to mention, when we talk about being included or excluded from TPP, such an impact would be asymmetric. Asymmetry in the sense that, so if we are there, that simply assure our industry, our firms, will be able to compete with our competitor on a level ground. So in other words, whether we'll be able to gain or benefit a lot still depending on the competitiveness of our industry. But the impact of exclusion on TPP will be much more serious. Like what I mentioned here, first, you can easily imagine the trade, the Taiwan's export to TPP members can be easily replaced by other TPP members since they are going to enjoy preferential treatment while we don't. Another thing is, I think is even more serious, is about the delinking effect. Taiwan has, in the global supply chain, we provide lots of intermediate goods, even equipment to those companies, or even the companies Taiwan investing in those TPP members. But it will be likely that it will be expelled from the supply chain due to lots of reasons, due to the TPP regulations, for example, the rule of origin. And then if this happens, this certainly discourages Taiwan's domestic investment while encouraging all investment in foreign countries. The following two plots illustrate what I'm saying here. Taking textile industry as example, this is still something important in Taiwan since Taiwan has developed something niche products in textile. So Taiwan has lots of investment in Vietnam, in China. So the final product shipped to the United States or to EU. But Taiwan provides those very different kinds of yarn or fabrics. So this works very, very well. But this may be changed if TPP is formed. Because of the TPP regulation, I mentioned about the rule of origin, which means they mentioned about the regulation, they want to have supply chain completely within the TPP region. So it's yarn forward. So starting from there. So if based on the rule of origin, if the yarn is coming from Taiwan, Taiwan is not a TPP member, then even that's manufactured by Vietnam manufacturers, they will not be able to enjoy the preferential treatment if they ship to the United States. And as for those firms in mainland China is not in TPP, so they will not be able to enjoy any preferential treatment anyway. So for these two directions, our export, which occupies a great proportion of our textile industry, to Vietnam, to mainland China, or to other countries that will suffer the similar difficulty. Then you can imagine a natural consequence is that Taiwan's manufacturer will tend to move out, say, to Vietnam, to other TPP members, to build up their factories so that they can still ship their yarn or fabrics to those countries. In fact, this is already happening. The end of last year, I went to some of year-end review reports made by some big international banks in Taiwan. Those economists already mentioned some of those Taiwan's textile companies. They've been in Taiwan, they never moved to mainland China, to any other where. They already moved to Vietnam, and then they will start producing this year. So people don't just wait there to see, oh, we are not going to be in TPP, then they start moving. They already have their plan, and this has been effective already. I think that's the most difficult part. So trade diversion is one thing, the delink is another, and the delink as a consequence is going to affect your investment. And of course, now you as an export-driven economy, now you kind of lose your export, you lose your domestic investment, so you can imagine it's going to hurt the employment. So the entire economy slowdown will be expected. I think that's the most. And of course, TPP does not only deal with tariff reduction. There are more important is about non-tariff measures and some other elimination of restriction to trade on goods and services. And then of course, we like include a lot of things that the regulatory transparency, IPR. I think Christy mentioned a lot more on this. And according to an assessment report by World Bank, so in Taiwan.